What is the smallest, most seemingly inconsequential thing someone has done that has made you hate them? People who use business buzzwords at meetings. Within 5 minutes of my first meeting at my last job, I knew I hated my boss when he said, real quote, "My ask of you is to synergize your workflow to push us up the ladder." This is just from today, but I hate it when the person behind me puts their feet on the back of my chair, especially if I can feel the tip of their shoe on my butt. WTF people, WTF. Just press your butt on their shoe and fart really hard. Nothing angers me more than when I'm walking in a crowded mall and someone stops suddenly in front of me, especially if it's to answer their cell phone. 9/10 people in California drive while on the phone, but apparently they are incapable of walking and talking at the same time. One more, knocking on my door and immediately coming in. Don't they know that I am having a special moment with myself? I had a roomie that would do that. 2 knocks and instantly bust in with whatever dumb thing he had. I put a wedge in the bottom of the door. Mine had no lock, and the next time he tried it was knock knock and donk. He tried to open it leading the way with his head. People who pull up to an ATM too far away to reach from their car but too close to open their door, and then reach across themselves with the arm farthest away. Frick, have you ever existed in a 3-dimensional environment before? When someone interrupts me, it's like saying, "Frick what you're saying, my idea is better, frick you and your favorite color." I hate when I see someone knock something to the floor, like in the store or something, and they realize it, but still don't pick it up. Also, I don't care for people who litter. Anything at work pushes my buttons, but transferring me a phone call you could have answered just as well really grinds my gears. And sending poop through the pneumatic system in a bag without the lid on tight. Murderous rage. Once the crap is out of the nurse's hands, they just don't care what happens to it. When people who are handling a few pieces of paper, when they lick their finger to turn to the next page every time. You don't need to do that to turn the page. Ugh, it grosses me the frick out. I don't want your spit on my papers. The first thing my grandmother's friend asked me immediately after I got hit by a car on my bike was, "Were you wearing a helmet?" followed by, "Did you run a stop sign?" B. I just got hit by a car and you're interrogating me for a reason to blame me? For the record, the guy who hit me failed to yield while turning left and hit my side as I crossed a green. It's because she hit a bicyclist too. This morning while driving, some lady honked and rolled up next to me to yell at me for using my phone while driving. I wasn't. She illustrated this by using her phone, which was already in her hands. I just stared at her because I wasn't sure what else I could do. I've never hated someone for something so stupid. I had this exact same thing happen to me last summer. This lady that was stopped beside me at a stoplight honked at me when I looked at my phone in my cup holder. She honked and did the no shaky finger at me. I looked up at her and just stared at her with no expression on my face until she looked away. I won that staring contest. B. Kevin Bacon once flipped a group of us the bird from a chairlift when I was 14. That made me hate everything he did and want to punch him in his little pug nose. I have slowly and begrudgingly come to actually like his movies and respect his work over the last 15 or so years, although seeing his full frontal in Wild Things only pee me off more. Regis told me to scram kid when I asked him to sign my autograph book at Disney World. I was a 6-year-old girl sporting pigtails. Feels bad, man. Anyone who tries to one-up a conversation. So yay. On the weekend I did laundry. Oh my god, I have so much laundry you have no idea. I had to go to Japan just to wash it, you have no idea. WTF would foot fast farport spofu. Bleh. I had a plastic cup and was bent down to scoop a cricket up and carry him out of the building when a colleague ran over and stomped on him. To this day I can't even look at her. I feel the thread title would indicate a specific situation with a specific person instead of a generic day-to-day situation, but I'll go with it. I hate people who are standing still on escalators who block the way instead of standing in a line on the right side. Sometimes, they'll have enough self-awareness to notice people in a rush coming behind them and they'll move, but those oblivious types who just stay in the way are very annoying. I hate those entitled bastards who treat waiters, cashiers, etc badly. Or when people freaking stop at the top of the escalator. There are no stairs in the mall I work in, only elevators and escalators. If you stop at the top, you are inevitably going to be blocking like 30 people. Not put a game back in its appropriate case, either by leaving it out or putting it in the wrong case. In my mind that is a lecture-worthy offense. Frick that, those disorganized street urchins should be summarily executed. I work in maintenance at the local hospital, and every year we always get a fresh crop of cocky interns trying to become doctors. A few years ago, one of them put a penny in the electronic door out front, breaking it, then denied it when I asked him about it. Ugh, I hate those guys. And they always want to call my work uniform a jumpsuit, but not a jumpsuit. Shirt, belt, pants. Anybody who eats food off my plate without asking. Not a huge deal as I am more than happy to let somebody have a bite or two, but at least ask me. Lying about their dirty dishes. Just clean up your freaking mess. Once my sister ran over an apple that a squirrel was dragging across the road. The squirrel was fine but the apple was destroyed and all I could think of was how he was pumped to feed his family with a delicious apple. And it was winter. And then boom. Taken away. I was genuinely mad with her for a few hours. This has happened to me twice recently, and it makes me so mad. Getting mad at me for asking a question. The first was when I was asking my landlord if we could get a pet. The lease said animals other than dogs were allowed with the landlord's permission. So I asked about a cat. Before I even finished asking, he was saying, no way, this is not negotiable. Same thing when I asked my boss about her rule about no one working overtime. I had never had a conversation with her about it and was concerned, because the rule heavily restricts anyone being able to take off more than a few days in a row. She immediately threatened to cut all of our hours and hire more people so that it wouldn't be an issue. Seriously, I'm a reasonable person and can handle being told no. Don't yell at me for asking. When people try to tell me what to do like they own me, my roommate, who I didn't really know well at the time, told me to clean my side of the dorm because I had books on the side of my bed. Didn't ask, told. I didn't because I don't respond well to demands. And he kept trying to tell me, even called in the RA to get his way. I've hated him ever since. Stop being ridiculous and go do your homework. People who are spatially unaware of others drive me insane. When I'm walking beside my mother and we round a corner, she never leaves enough room if she's on the outside, and I always end up behind her. Makes me want to punch the back of her head. You do not touch someone else's computer screen. I've been seeing my current girlfriend for just under a year. After months of asking, then telling her not to touch the screen, only to be met with eye rolling, I finally had to get angry to get my message across. One that's been bugging me recently is when the elevator door closes and the people waiting in the lobby don't give the elevator enough time to leave the floor before pushing the call button again. I was house sitting in high school once, staying overnight and all that, so I had some friends over to partake in certain herbal festivities. We're sitting in the TV room and the house Labrador strolls in for a petting. This friend grabs the dog by the scruff of the neck and sort of jerks its head back and forth. It's kind of hard to describe, but it wasn't blatantly abusive. The dog didn't wince in pain or anything, but was definitely not enjoying it. Put its tail between his legs. It was just subtly a bit too far to be considered playfully rough, by a minuscule margin, but that was enough to have me seething with fury. I had to fight the urge to go off on him and kick him out. It was the fact that he was treating a dog like a bully treats a little kid, having fun with it at the expense of its comfort and sense of safety. IDK. Maybe I'm just crazy. I would have been upset, too. Animals, man. I can't stand the mistreatment of animals. People who are unnecessarily rude to those in the service industry. It's literally a deal breaker if you cannot tell the difference between bad service and some poor schmuck who's been left alone to deal with the lunch rush. When people say literally, when they are being figurative, or when there was never any doubt that their comment was intended to be literal. It's literally so cold outside. My wife was telling me about a guy that she has chemistry with, and about how she's thinking about going to get some coffee with him. We just got married 3 months ago, and here she is telling me nonchalantly about her relationship with some freaking douchebag. I got pee. I just couldn't believe the indignity and disrespect she was showing by talking about this so casually. Turns out, it's just some guy in her chemistry class. She has chemistry class with a gay guy. Whatever, I'm still going to hate the guy. People who advertise their work on in their Facebook status, such as come see me at gym name to get a great deal. I don't know why, it just pisses me off. On the flip side, I hate when people, especially acquaintances, expect a discount or hook up at your place of work because they know you. Took my stapler. They switched from Swingline to the Boston stapler, but I kept my Swingline stapler because it didn't bind up as much, and I kept the staples for the Swingline stapler and it's not okay. There's this guy that hangs around the bars and etc that me and my friends frequent. He has a really stupid hipster haircut. I've never met him before, never said a word to him, and don't know his name, but every time I see him, I just want to slam his head into the concrete and tell him his haircut sucks. This kills the hipster. Doing the duck face in photos, or simply uploading 50 pictures of the same pose onto a social networking site. That's when I hit delete. One of my friends is a really stupid blonde, and I swear, every picture she uploads is the exact same in the last one. Of course, all the comments are the exact same, too. AWW beautiful thanks hun miss gorgeous over here. When I'm doing some menial task at work and a coworker asks if I'm having fun yet. When was that funny? Never. Shut up. B stole the parking spot that I had been freaking waiting for at Costco one day. I had a few cars behind me that were backed up while this one lady backed out, and then Mega B swoops in from the opposite direction and parks. I roll down the window and start chewing her out, along with some of the other people that witnessed this move, and she fires back something like your truck is too freaking big to park there anyways. Dipshit. I drive a Nissan Frontier, so this argument fails miserably, but as she walked away she was in such a huff she somehow managed to leave her driver's side door wide open. It took every ounce of self-control to keep from going into her car and jacking something nice or just cramming a fat deuce into her air vents. Here in Canada most people will hold the door open for you. It's just a reflex. That's great, but it goes both ways. If I hold the door for you, you're expected to hold it your dang self as you go through, not make me stand there the whole time. People who talk to me when I'm reading playing a game. Back off. GRR. Also, repetitive sounds movements. It's hard to explain, but my mom always clears her throat the same way, or my dog has to walk up the second flight of stairs and then turn and come back down that flight to go to the garage. I love them both, but it's more like movements or actions I can predict that people do all the time. I'm insane. People who post YouTube videos on their Facebook, but post like 14 in a row. I like when people post videos since I might discover something new, and heck I do it too. But you are not some internet DJ. You're being a spamming frickass and I hate you now and will delete you. Maybe the most neck-butted thing I've commented so far, but when people ask to look through my comics and then aren't careful at all with them. I freaking hate people who just constantly talk about smoking weed. I smoke, but it's not all I freaking think about every second of the goddamn day. Like, Jesus Christ, shut up. People who type your instead of your like you're an idiot. This is by far my biggest pet peeve. I can't take it, even though I know sometimes it's a typo. Also pregnant women who use the word preggers, and mothers who say their child's age in months. Your child is 2 years old, not 26 months. Just shut up. At a small LAN party many years ago, a friend stole a blanket from me while I was trying to sleep. In his defense though, he thought I was asleep and wouldn't notice. But I am a very light sleeper in crowded environments. So after the shock had worn off and the fury kicked in, I went and stole it right the heck back. When I say thank you and the other person says okay, who doesn't have your welcome drilled into their head from the age of 3? This will probably get buried anyway. I'm a quiet person and sometimes I will say something to add to the conversation but others won't hear it. Then maybe 20 seconds later someone that did hear me will hijack my statement and pawn it off as their own. What in the actual frick? When someone has really bad breath, or BO, and ignores it. Though maybe I should hate the people who knew before me and didn't tell the poor schmuck. In my intro to psychology class, this really antsy guy sat next to me. He would rub his nose, pump his foot, rub his hand through his hair and make all these hyperactive gestures. He probably was just nervous or something, but it drove me up the freaking wall. Now when I sit next to someone mildly like that, I have to have a makeshift blind out of a book or my bangs. Makes my blood boil. That guy here, I promise he didn't realize he was bothering you. We just can't sit still. As I type this, in class, I'm doing at least 2 of the things you described. I assure you it's not a voluntary thing too. People that still write checks, grocery store, Walmart, etc. I'm shocked your checkbook isn't a stone tablet. After people check out and are handed their receipt, decide it's a good time to stand right there and organize their purse, or do a line by line on their receipt or whatever. Freaking move. Not sure if this is on topic but I'll include it. If you're shy and at a party or something, someone comes up to you, hey you're really quiet, you don't talk much, huh? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.